It's quite an exciting project that Cape Nature has undertaken in the Fynbos region. I just want to acknowledge my co-authors, three from Cape Nature and one Dr. Olaf Vale from South African Institute of Aquatic Biodiversity, who've all played a prominent role in this project. In this talk, I'll introduce the unique and imperiled freshwater fish of the Fynbos region to you, why they're threatened, and then talk about an ambitious project that we did. We've worked in 2 rivers, but we've got plans to work in 3 more in the Cederberg region of the Western Cape province. And I'll specifically focus on the Rondegat River, where we've had a successful alien fish eradication from 4 kilometers of river. So just to those of you who don't know, we should actually all know South Africa is globally unique. It's got one of the 6 floral kingdoms of the world entirely within its borders. So pretty special, mainly in the Western Cape. And this Mediterranean type climate area is unlike where we are at the moment. Back home where I come from, it's very dry, the grass is yellow, no rain to come really for the next 3-4 months. So you get the rivers that look like this in summer with fed by groundwater, very clear, but very susceptible to disturbance. So these fishes, like the plants from the Cape Fynbos region, we have a distinct aquatic ecoregion of Africa. 4 fish families present, all river dwellers. Remarkable, close to 90%. 18 of the 21 species are endemic to the region. And also, we don't have any piscivorous fish in the Fynbos region. No barbel, no big largemouth yellowfish. So most of the species are the size of my hand and smaller, and they've been very susceptible to alien fish impacts, with all 18 endemics threatened, and unfortunately half of those critically endangered or endangered. And while we're worried about the existing ones, new species are being discovered, like the giant redfin shown in the photo on the bottom, and the fluorine flay redfin that have been discovered through genetic and morphological work in the last couple of years. So not surprisingly, the Fynbos region is a nationally important priority area for fish conservation. And that's just to introduce some of the fish species. The cyprinids are dominant, 17 species, dominated by small redfins on the right, top right. That's the type of water clarity we've got in many of our rivers, very beautiful to go and snorkel there. And then we've got Labiobarbus, you've got Labiobarbus natalensis. In this province, we've got Labiobarbus capensis. And then 3 other families, the rock catfish on the bottom left, the family Galaxidae, until recently was recognized as 1 species, but we're looking at least probably 14 new species that are going to be described soon. And then the Cape Coper, which is a classic Fynbos indicator species found from the Berg River all the way through to Port Elizabeth. So unfortunately, all is not happy with this group of fish, as I've mentioned. A range of threats, habitat degradation, big problem. This is a very water-thirsty area with a lot of orchards. The Western Cape, Southwestern Cape in particular, very important for agriculture. So some of the rivers are pumped dry in the summer, no flow. Pollution, especially around towns, river bulldozing, and then invasive alien species fish. And in the case of plants in the riparian zones, having a major effect on water flow and also habitat quality. But all experts agree, and that's what makes this region very special from a South African point of view. The number 1 threat is not habitat degradation to these fish, it's invasive alien fishes. And what we found in this area from the mid-1850s, more than 20 species were introduced for angling, fish farming and biological control purposes, control mosquitoes, and all our major river systems are now invaded. 21 species have been recorded, and the black basses from North America have had the most severe impact, 3 species. But with the alien fish, what one must keep in mind, just like in this province with the black wattle plantations, they are the backbone of a substantial recreational angling industry in the Fynbos region, and also fish farming in the case of rainbow trout. So just to show you how bad it is, it's not a pretty picture. So if you look there, There's a few coastal catchments around the George Neisner area that are green, and around Cape Fynbos, and they've got no non-native fish species or no alien fish species in them, invasive alien fish species. But the rest of the province, if you look at the Olifantsdeuring system, the Berg, the Breda and the Gourits in red, the major river systems, 10 to 12 invasive alien species of fish. That doesn't mean the entire red area is invaded. There are tributary areas which have got waterfall barriers, and there are no invasive fish above those. So what are we doing? We've got an exciting project based in the Cedarburg. That is a freshwater ecosystem priority area map of the Olifantsdeuring River system. Hopefully all of you are aware of the atlas, the national atlas that has been produced of these areas, and you can see all the little subquaternaries there with red fish. That shows an endangered species, and the black fish shows a vulnerable species. So we really sit with a lot of endemic, highly threatened fish in this part of South Africa. And those are the approximate localities or where we're focusing our river rehabilitation projects. And you can see they are where those key subquaternaries are. So let me focus now on the Rondegat River project, which I don't... how many of you know about the Rondegat River project apart from Coral at the back? Well, that's good. So you're going to hear some new news. It's a small, shallow, perennial river, about 20 kilometers long, flowing into Clanwilliam Dam. And I'll show you some figures and maps. The lower 4 kilometers of the river were invaded by alien smallmouth bass with huge impacts on the indigenous fish. The alien fish in the river had no economic value. They were not angled for because they were very small. So our primary goal was in that 4 kilometers to eradicate the smallmouth bass from a waterfall barrier and a weir using the piscicide rotenone. Piscicide is a chemical that kills fish. And our secondary goal, so it was a very nice integrated project, was to remove the invasive alien trees from the riparian zone. This 4 kilometers was not in a protected area, and what was very important for this project is we had a landowner that was very supportive of the project. So just to show you there, you can see Cape Town, probably about 250 kilometers north, the Olifants River area, and you can see the Rondegat River over here flowing into Clanwilliam Dam, and we have a situation, you can see the waterfall barrier, above the waterfall barrier, indigenous fish. If you look at the figure, if you look at the figure on the right, lower right, you can see above the waterfall barrier several indigenous fish species in very high abundance. And you get to the waterfall, and you can see there in red alien fish, smallmouth bass. You can see them there, completely dominating the ichthyofauna. When the smallmouth bass were there, if you went and did fish surveys, you didn't find a single redfin. Complete localized extirpation of them. We had some yellowfish coexisting with the smallmouth bass, but they were too big to be eaten. But the bass were stopping the recruitment of the indigenous fish. And then just above the dam here, sorry, this is out of place, is a weir barrier. So that weir barrier is also quite important to appreciate in terms of the project. And you can see the river there, 2 to 3 meters wide. That's a summer situation, about 30 to 50 centimeters deep. This project was controversial because we're talking about alien fish control and rotenone use. Alien fish eradication. Trout, those of you who are connected, there's John there, knows about the alien fish sector in this country. Trout and bass and other alien fish like carp are highly valued by anglers. And both sectors are very well organized in South Africa. With this project, the bass sector said to us, is that rotenone going to get into Clanwilliam Dam and affect our trophy fishing there? And then it's a government control project. We all know about the Working for Water projects. Can we trust government? They're going to do the Rondegat River. Which rivers are next? Maybe, in some of our prominent trout waters are in protected areas, including this province. So that made it quite controversial. And then rotenone, Thanks to the internet now, very easy. You just go home, you type in rotenone and search, and there's a whole library that comes to your attention. And the project critics got hold of scientific literature to challenge scientists involved in the project. Rotenone doesn't just kill fish, it can kill non-target fauna such as aquatic insects. And what the project critics in this project did is they used the media and the internet to try and stop the project. There you go, those of you who've been involved with controversial projects, killing more than fish, and then the sensation. They fear the poisoning of the rivers will not only kill off the alien fish, but could cause a mass extermination of all endemic insects and aquatic species in the rivers. Now, any member of the public reading that newspaper think, why is Cape Nature actually wanting to do this project? How irresponsible. So anyway, thanks. There are some people from DEA here. Very importantly, 2010 DEA said we're not just going to look at alien plants, we're going to look at alien animals too. And they saw the value of this project, and they were absolutely instrumental in allowing this project to be implemented. We developed project plans to guide what we were doing: communications, fish rescue, safety and security, rotenone neutralization. We obtained legal approvals that we needed. And very importantly, with the controversial projects, no good for Cape Nature to say it was a good project. We had independent biological monitoring, which started in 2011 and funded by the Water Research Commission, which was also a critical ingredient in this project. So let independent scientists determine if this is a good idea or not. Just to show you what happened there, so we had a treatment application plan. On the 29th of February 2012, you can see down the length of the river in yellow all the treatment stations. That was for the first treatment. We applied 1 part per million of the product for 6 hours. And at the bottom at the weir, we had a neutralization station with potassium permanganate to neutralize the rotenone to ensure, you can see the river flowing into Clan William Dam on the left of the Google Earth image. And also we did a follow-up treatment a year later, but we had international experts that came and witnessed the first treatment, and they said, they gave some advice as to changes that should be done. And we, with the first treatment and the second treatment, we didn't do this as a quiet, secretive operation. We involved regulators such as water fairs, universities, funding groups, water users, angling bodies, the Cape Piscatorial Society came and witnessed the treatment. Just some images. We were very lucky to have Brian Finlayson, who's the senior author of the Rotenone User's Manual, to come and guide us. Jarli Steinke from Norway, where they use rotenone very successfully to help salmon conservation. The training they gave us, you wear your safety gear and how to charge up your containers with rotenone. There, the day of treatment in 2012, with a whole lot of stakeholders who they're working for water shirts, watching what's being done, and not only just treating the river, you've got little backwaters and seeps, they also need to be treated. Because our goal here was not control, the 4 kilometers of river we wanted complete, we didn't want to have to come back. So we, in 2013, we got criticism with the 2012 treatment. People said to us, why didn't you try and save the Clan William yellowfish that coexisted with the bass? It's a vulnerable species. So we actually set up a little fish revival station in the river with obviously water that was put in there before the rotenone passed through. You can see all the little juvenile fish that had started recolonizing the river after the first treatment. This is the second treatment. They all look like they're dead. But actually we had an 80% revival, and there's one of our staff members actually releasing them several hours later back into the river, above obviously the rotenone treated stretch. So I can tell you, when I started this project, I didn't have any graves. This project has been 10 years in the making. The biological monitoring confirmed that all bass were killed. And there's been an excellent recovery of threatened indigenous fish, and I'll show you that. Cape Nature involvement at all levels. There was absolute support. With a controversial project, it's very important to have your directors, and we even had the acting CEO there on the first treatment to show the support from right at the top all the way through. We had positive media coverage. You saw those unpleasant articles earlier on. We had 50/50 that came and did the program on it, and we had scientific credibility, very importantly, with a whole lot of publications. And after the second treatment, we've got a range of stakeholders now that see the value of these projects. And just to show you here, very nice to see. This is before. Here's a waterfall, indigenous fish, bass. See the huge difference? Removal of the bass, indigenous fish colonizing the river, Clanwilliam redfins at the top, fiery redfins in the middle, and juvenile Clanwilliam yellowfish. And it's been a very interesting study of colonization. We didn't have to stock any fish because they were all above the waterfall and breeding, so their juveniles were washing down into this cleared area. And it's been a very interesting thing seeing how the redfins and other species are colonizing. Also, that's very nice. Look at that. On the left, what it looked like before, a river valley infested with black wattle, blue gums, and blackwood. And then a nice integrated project with Working for Water and cleared now. So a very nice integrated project, very nice positive publicity, eradicating invasive alien fish. It can be done. Scientific credibility. Two very nice Water Research Commission reports. From any of you want to know some more about the project, some nice scientific papers that have been published. And my last slide, our current plans. The idea is to get this chemical registered for use, but under control. We can't have the general public going to Pick and Pay and buying some roadblock. So we are busy with 2 small dams because the registrar likes to have several examples of successful use data. And then there are 3 rivers that we want to clear of largemouth bass and bluegill and spotted bass over the next 3-4 years. Each of these rivers, this is not something you do in 6 weeks. I think with invasive plants, it takes time, a lot of time. And we've earmarked 18 rivers in the Fynbos region for alien fish control, medium to long term, probably over the next 20-25 years, subject to funding. And very importantly, these 18 rivers have been communicated to organised angling, FOSAF. It's on their FOSAF website, Federation of South African Fly Fishers, and none of them are priorities for angling. So we don't have a big conflict. We're not wanting to put rotenone into the Bread River, because then on to one of the big angling dams. But, we don't need to. But in the USA, rotenone is used for angling purposes to restore very important fishing waters that have been invaded by other fish species. So, but that's the project, and thanks for your attention. And so just the funders, very importantly, as I said, 10 years, we had our early funders, Table Mountain Fund, our main funder, the biological monitoring, and we had the American Fisheries Society that were involved too. So, yeah.